9, text number 29. Bhagavach chikshtatam ahang karavani hi atandrita nehamana praja sargam bhadyayang yad anugrahat. Bhagavat, by the personality of Godhead. Shikshitam, taught. Aham, myself. Karavani, by acting. He, certainly. Atandrita, instrumental. Na, never. Ihamana, although acting. Praja sargam, generation of the living entities. Bhadyayam, be conditioned. Yat, as a matter of fact. Anugrahat, by the mercy of. Translation: Lord Brahma said to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, "Please tell me, so that I may be taught in the matter by the instruction of the Personality of Godhead, and may thus act instrumentally to generate living entities, without being conditioned by such activities." Purport: by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Brahmaji does not want to become a speculator dependent on the strength of his personal knowledge and conditioned to material bondage. Everyone should know in clear consciousness that one is, in the execution of all activities, an instrument. A conditioned soul is instrumental in the hands of the external energy, guna mayi maya, or the illusory energy of the Lord. And in the liberated stage, the living entity is instrumental to the will of the Personality of Godhead directly. To be instrumental to the direct will of the Lord is the natural constitutional position of the living entity, whereas to be an instrument in the hands of the illusory energy of the Lord is material bondage for the living entity. In that conditioned state, the living entity speculates on the absolute truth and his different activities. But on the unconditioned stage, the living entity directly receives knowledge from the Lord, and such a liberated soul acts flawlessly without any speculative habit. The Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, verses 10 through 11, confirms emphatically that the pure devotees who are constantly engaged in the loving transcendental service of the Lord are directly advised by the Lord, so much so that the devotee unwaveringly makes progress on the path home back to Godhead. Pure devotees of the Lord are therefore not proud of their definite progress, whereas the non-devotee speculator is in the darkness of illusory energy and is very much proud of one's misleading knowledge based on speculation without any definite path. Lord Brahma wanted to be saved from that pitfall of pride, although he was posted in the most exalted position in the universe. So before I speak, I would like to offer some prayers to my spiritual master. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Disha Tarine Om Apavitra Pavitrova Sarva Avastangatopi Va StMoritz Pundarik Akshang Sabaya Abhyantara Suchihi Shri Vishnu Shri Vishnu Shri Vishnu Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnana Anjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Mukhaṁ Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Sri Gurundana Taranam Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Parama Ananda Madhavam Trinadapi Sunichena Torar Iva Sahishnuna Amanina Manadina Kirtaniya Sada Hari Hare Nama Hare Nama Hare Nam Eva Kevalam Kalo Nastyeva 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 Gatir Anyata Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitete Koriya Aikya Arna Koriho Mane Asha. Were you able to hear the tabla? Everything good?
Yes.
Okay, good. Because I have a special treat at the end.
Thank you.
No, thank you. I'm so honored to be speaking to these devotees of Africa because this is the fulfillment of Bhaktivinoda Thakur's desire and Srila Prabhupada's intention. Every town and village. Thank you so much. I am honored to be in your association. So, in preparing this class today, I looked at it very carefully and came up with the following themes or topics based on verse and purport. So number one of the topics expressed was mental speculation. And this verse that we studied today was spoken by Lord Brahma at the dawn of creation. But later in the Krishna Leela, when Lord Brahma begs forgiveness because of his offense to Krishna by stealing his cowherder boys and calves, one of the prayers that Lord Brahma offered had to deal with this speculation. This is a very famous verse. It's even quoted by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Jnane prayasam udapasya namanta eva jivanti san mukitarang bhavadiya vartam stane stita shruti gatang tano van manobhir ye prayasho jitopi asi traistri lokyam. Lord Brahma said to Krishna, "My dear Lord, those devotees who have thrown away the impersonal conception of the absolute truth and have therefore abandoned discussing empiric philosophical truths should hear from self-realized devotees about your holy name, form, pastimes, and qualities. They should completely follow the principles of devotional service and remain free from illicit sex, gambling, intoxication, and animal slaughter. Surrendering themselves fully with body, words, and mind, they can live in any ashram or social status. Indeed, you are conquered by such persons, although you are otherwise always unconquerable. The next topic or theme that I got out of today's verse and purport is Poshana, or protection by the Lord. And Prabhupada specifically referenced 2 verses in the Bhagavad Gita. These 2 verses are part of the Gita Chatushloki, or 4 nutshell verses of Gita. Teshang satata yuktanang bhajatang priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tang yena mam upayanti te tesham evanukam partham aham ajnana tamaha nashayami atma bhavasto jnana deepena basvata. Krishna informed Arjuna, to those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. In order to show them special mercy, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. Now, the third topic or theme is our instrumental position. This was pointed out by Prabhupada in the purport. So, in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, when Arjuna asks the universal form, "Who are you and what is your mission?" this is one of the statements that Krishna in his universal form replied. Tasmat tvam utishta yasho labasva jitva shatrun bhungshva rajang samriddham mayai vaite nihata purvam eva nimata matra bhavasavya sachin. So that's the line. Nimata matram bhava savyasachin. So Krishna told Arjuna, therefore, get up, prepare to fight, and win glory. Conquer your enemies, and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. The people are already put to death by my arrangement. And you, O Sabyasachi, can be but an instrument in the fight. So this Nimitta Matram means being Krishna's instrument. Prabhupada mentioned that actually we only have 2 choices: to be an instrument of Maya illusion or to be Krishna's instrument. So all of us who have joined this ISKCON movement, or any one of us who is supporting or associating with the devotees of this movement, can consider themselves instruments of Krishna. Now, in the case of Arjuna, he had to be Krishna's instrument in order to defeat the Kauravas, so that Yudhishthira could be the emperor of the world, which was Krishna's desire. So Krishna was telling Arjuna, it's already done. It's already completed. I want you to take the credit. So you just be my instrument. So as devotees, we should see ourselves as Krishna's instrument. Here, I have a little pair of kartals. This is an instrument. Now, these kartals only act according to how I use them. They do not act independently. So when a devotee completely surrenders to Krishna, then the devotee wants to be just like these kartals in the hands of Krishna. And one of my favorite things Prabhupada wrote is the prayer he composed while the Jaladuta was docked in Boston Harbor. Prabhupada arrived in America in September of 1965. At that time, I was 15. But it took me 7 years later to find the devotees and Prabhupada and Krishna. But when Prabhupada arrived, he composed a very powerful poem. And I always give lectures every year on that poem. So in that poem, towards the end, Prabhupada is praying to Krishna in the same mood. I want to be your instrument. He says, I am a puppet in your hand. Now make me dance, make me dance, make me dance as you like. So this teaches me how I should think. What should be my motivation? I must follow in the footsteps of Srila Prabhupada. Because Prabhupada told us more than once that the best way to try to repay what Prabhupada did for us, we can never actually repay it, but we can try. And he said the best way to try is simply preach this Krishna consciousness movement. So we should always remember, what is ISKCON? It is a preaching movement. We are meant to distribute love of God. We are meant to distribute the message of Krishna, Lord Chaitanya, and specifically Srila Prabhupada. Now we get to the fourth concept or theme, which I entitled Swarup, or our constitutional position. And for this, I went to the Chaitanya Charitamrita, where Lord Chaitanya is instructing Sanatana Goswami. And Sanatana Goswami asked Lord Chaitanya, Ke ami? Who am I? Why am I suffering the threefold miseries? So, when Lord Chaitanya heard from Sanatan, then he replied as follows. Jivera Swarupa Hai Krishnera Nityadas Krishnera Tatashta Shakti Beda Beda Prakash Suryangsha Kirana Yaiche Agnijvala Choi Swabhavaka Krishnera Tina Prakarash Hakti Shakti Hai. It is the living entity's constitutional position to be an eternal servant of Krishna, because one is the marginal energy of Krishna and a manifestation, simultaneously one and different from the Lord, like a molecular particle of sunshine or fire. Krishna has three varieties of energy. Then Lord Chaitanya continues preaching to Sanatan on this point. Forgetting Krishna, the living entity has been attracted by the external feature of Krishna from time immemorial. Therefore, Maya, the illusory energy of Krishna, gives the living entity all kinds of misery in one's material existence. In the material condition, the living entity is sometimes raised to higher planetary systems and material prosperity, and sometimes drowned in a hellish situation. One state is exactly like that of a criminal whom a king punishes by submerging in water and then raising the criminal again out of the water. Then Lord Chaitanya quotes from the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, a very famous verse. Bhayang dvatiya biniveshata syad ishad apetasya viparyayo smriti tanmayayato buddha abhajitang bhakyayikayeshang gurudevatatma. When the living entity is attracted by the material energy, which is separate from Krishna, one is overpowered by fear. Because one is separated from the Supreme Personality of Godhead by the material energy, one's conception of life is reversed. In other words, instead of being the eternal servant of Krishna, one tries to become Krishna's competitor. This is called Viparyayo Smriti. To nullify this mistake, one who is actually learned and advanced worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead as one's spiritual master, worshipful deity, and very source of life. One thus worships the Lord by the process of unalloyed devotional service. Lord Chaitanya continues, if the conditioned soul becomes Krishna conscious by the mercy of saintly persons who voluntarily preach scriptural injunctions and thus help one to become Krishna conscious, then the conditioned soul is liberated from the clutches of Maya, who gives up the conditioned soul. The conditioned soul cannot revive one's Krishna consciousness simply by one's own effort. But out of causeless mercy, Lord Krishna compiled the Vedic literature and its supplements, the Puranas. So here, Bhaktisiddhanta informed Prabhupada that famous conversation when Prabhupada was with Bhaktisiddhanta on Vrindavan in Radha Kund. And Bhaktisiddhanta at that time was very disturbed because they had spent so much money on building a big temple in Calcutta. But as soon as they built this big temple, all of his disciples were fighting and arguing who should get what room. So Bhaktisiddhanta was very disgusted, and he confided in Prabhupada, in Radha Kund, that I wish to take all the marble out of that temple, sell it, and print books. That would have been better. So Prabhupada, and then Bhaktisiddhanta said to Prabhupada, if you ever get money, print books. And Prabhupada, those of us who joined Prabhupada's movement in the 70s, we learned this most important lesson. Prabhupada stressed this. 50% of the money that was collected went to the book trust for book publication, and 50% went to constructing and maintaining temples. So Prabhupada was very keen on this. And I recall, because I joined ISKCON in 1973. So prior to 1973, in the late 60s, early 70s, the big focus was Harinam Sankirtan, Devotees would go out for hours every day chanting on the streets. And yes, they were selling their Back to Godhead magazines or incense. But then, 1972-73, Prabhupada changed the emphasis. And he instructed us, go out and distribute. Distribute books, distribute books, distribute books. That's all you heard day in and day out. That is the ISKCON I joined. And just as a side note, I am somewhat famous in ISKCON because in 1975, in Atlanta, Georgia, Prabhupada was giving a Sunday feast lecture. And so I decided to raise my hand and ask a question. Because in 1975, everything was centered around book distribution in ISKCON. In fact, if you didn't go out and distribute books, you were considered practically not even a devotee. So there was some confusion. So I raised my hand and I asked Prabhupada, what pleases you the most? And Prabhupada's response, to the shock of everyone in the room, because we all expected him to say, distribute books. But he said, no. If you simply love Krishna. So I have taken that as my instruction from Srila Prabhupada, that I must learn how to love Krishna in this lifetime. But nevertheless, the fact remains, Prabhupada emphasized this book distribution. As you can see here, by Krishna's causeless mercy, the Vedic literatures have been produced. So I joined this movement because I got a book. I joined this movement because of Prabhupada's Krishna book. After reading 6 chapters one night, I closed the Krishna book. I finished with Putana being killed by Krishna. And after 6 chapters, I decided I was going to join Prabhupada's movement. That's how powerful Prabhupada's books are. And those of us who joined in those days of the 70s, we knew, yes, we joined because of these books, and Prabhupada's desire was to make more people fortunate. So we were happy to go out and distribute books. Lord Chaitanya's instructions to Sanatan finishes up with this excerpt. The forgetful conditioned soul is educated by Krishna through the Vedic literatures, the realized spiritual master, and the super soul. Through these, one can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead as He is, and one can understand that Lord Krishna is one's eternal master and deliverer from the clutches of Maya. In this way, one can acquire real knowledge of one's conditioned life and can come to understand how to attain liberation. Now, that number 5 of the themes is the topic of humility. And of course, we have the instructions of Lord Chaitanya in his Shikshastakam number 3. Trinadapi sunichena tarar iva sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. One who thinks oneself lower than the grass, who is more tolerant than a tree, and who does not expect personal honor, but is always prepared to give all respect to others, can very easily always chant the holy name of the Lord. And in the final chapter of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord Chaitanya gives the purport to this third Shikshastakam verse. Lord Chaitanya says, "These are the symptoms of one who chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Although one is very exalted, one thinks oneself lower than the grass on the ground. And like a tree, one tolerates everything in two ways. For when a tree is cut down, it does not protest. And even when drying up, it does not ask anyone for water. The tree delivers its fruits, flowers, and whatever else it possesses to anyone and everyone. It tolerates scorching heat and torrents of rain, yet it gives shelter to others. Although the Vaishnava is the most exalted person, one is prideless and gives all respect to everyone, knowing everyone to be the resting place of Krishna. So if one chants the holy name of Krishna in this manner, one will certainly awaken one's dormant love for Krishna's lotus feet. And from the beginning, the first time I heard from Prabhupada, from Lord Chaitanya, that love of Krishna is already there, dormant in everyone's heart, that helped me to understand how to preach. This concept that love for Krishna is dormant in everyone helps me to see we're all one family. We may have different bodies, male, female. We may have different complexions, white, brown, black, yellow, red. These are all external considerations. But inside the soul, you and me, we are the same. We're individuals. We have personality, but inherently we're the same. And love of God is in everyone's heart. So we can approach anyone. Let them hear the holy name. Then Prabhupada emphasized, give them a book. Last topic, number 6, pride. So for pride, I went to the Krishna Leela in the story of Indra trying to hamper Krishna and the residents of Vrindavan by sending rain for 7 days and 7 nights. And when Indra was finally defeated by Krishna's lifting Govardhan hill, Indra came down from his position with this dazzling crown as king of heaven, and he bowed down to Krishna's lotus feet and offered some prayers of begging forgiveness. We pick up here. Indra was very ashamed of having offended Krishna. Approaching Krishna in a solitary place, Indra fell down and laid his helmet, whose effulgence was as brilliant as the sun, laying it upon Lord Krishna's lotus feet. Indra had now heard of and seen the transcendental power of omnipotent Krishna, and Indra's false pride in being the Lord of the 3 worlds was thus defeated. Holding his hands together in supplication, Indra addressed Lord Krishna as follows: My dear Lord, you are the Father and spiritual master of this entire universe, and you are also its supreme controller. You are insurmountable time, imposing punishment upon the sinful for their own benefit. Indeed, in your various incarnations, Selected by your own free will, you act decisively to remove the false pride of those who presume themselves masters of this world. Why, even fools like me, who proudly think themselves universal lords, give up their conceit and directly take to the path of the spiritually progressive, when they see you, Krishna, that you are fearless even in the face of time. Thus, you punish the mischievous only to instruct them. Engrossed in pride over my ruling power, ignorant of your majesty, I offended you. O Lord, may you forgive me. My intelligence was bewildered, but let my consciousness never again be so impure. O Lord, you have shown mercy to me by shattering my false pride and defeating my attempt to punish Vrindavan. Unto you, the Supreme Lord, the Spiritual Master, and the Supreme Soul, I have now come for shelter. So I want to do two more things. I would first of all like to sing the Nishringa prayers as a way of blessing all of you so that you there in Africa are protected by Lord Nrsingadev. So let me do it. It won't be long. It'll just be one time through. Namaste Narasimhaya Praklad Aklada Dayane Hiranya Kashipura Vakshaha Shilatankat Nakalaye Ito Nrsinga Parato Nrsingho Yato Yato Yami Tato Nrsingha Bahir Nrsingho Hridaye Nrsingho Nrsinghamading Sharanang Prabhaje Nrsinghamading Sharanang Prapadye Tavakara Kamala Vare Nakam Adbhuta Sringam Dalita Hiranya Kashipu Tanu Bringam Keshavadrita Nara Hadirupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Keshavadrita Nrsinga Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadish Jaya Jagadish Jaya Jagadisha Hare Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Tat Sat. All right, one more thing before we do questions and answers. I am also known for my Western style bhajans. And this was one of the first songs I wrote with my wife in 1980. It's called Lord Goranga. I hope you enjoy it. And I've recorded this about 5 different times over the years. This is the 2024 updated version. Lord Goranga's calling. Please chant the holy name. In every town and village, there's no time for all your games. You know it's time to wake up. Find out who you are. Wake up, it's time to wake up. You've been dreaming on a star. Lord Goranga's calling. Please come and dance.